Let's get ready to rumble!
What's up, everyone? It's Nate. Every day I'm hustling, and I'm back at you with another video. I appreciate each and every one of you coming and checking out the video. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about my reaction to the Vegas Dave versus Gary Vee video. Something that I've been wanting to talk about, and it's also the first video that I've ever watched of Vegas Dave as well. I don't have any issues with neither one of these guys. I definitely like Gary Vee, but more, of course, because I've been listening and watching this stuff for a while now. But that's not what we're here for today. Today's just basically kind of just going over the video, taking my takes on a couple of things that he said, because in a lot of videos and a lot of content that I watch, not everything is always the wrong answer. You know, you have different ways of being able to gather information and use that information here and there from different people and kind of make your own judgment on certain situations and what could happen. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. Real quick, before we start that, I just want to let you guys know that we are on the road to 2K subscribers, and we are going to do a giveaway, slabs or cash. So you can either get my slabs that I'm going to be giving up, or you can have cash. So there's no way you can lose. Just make sure you smash that subscribe button and click that bell notifications. This way you get a chance to see all my content and have a chance for the giveaway on the video whenever I do hit 2,000 subscribers. We also do a Sunday auction every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. It rotates between my channel and Picksburgh's channel. The link for his channel will be in the description, as well as our Facebook group where you can buy, sell, and trade cards. Jump into our PSA submissions, SGC, and GMA as well. And you can ask questions and hang out with us if you like, because we definitely appreciate you guys and we love talking cards. But without further ado, let's jump in to this video with Vegas Dave versus Gary Vee.
Vegas Dave versus Gary Vee, the biggest topic in the sports card industry right now. Who's right, who's wrong? Remember, it was me 3 years ago that predicted the market would boom. And now I'm the first person in the world to tell you this market's going to collapse by the end of 2024. I'm going to be right and Gary's be wrong. Watch this video and find out why.
So right off the bat, my first thought is it has nothing to do with anything but who's basically the king of the market, either him or Gary Vee. So that's just my first thoughts on the video. I'll tell you why as soon as we get to a couple different parts in the video.
Before I tell you why the sports card industry is going to crash, let me tell you a little bit about my history. It was me that bought the Mike Trout Superfractor for $400,000 and 2 years later flipped it to $4 million. Over a $3.5 million flip in under 24 months. That sale alone blew up the sports card market. It made that market go from a hobby to a business. It brought all types of investors in the industry because people now saw the industry as something where you can make money from and not just a hobby.
All right, so
I'm sure that helped the amount of press, and that sale was everywhere. It was in the news, everything. So I'm sure that helped, but I'm sure there's a lot more that has driven the market being the way that it is.
you have taken the sports card world by storm. I mean, when I first got into the game, everybody was talking about what you were doing.
First time I've actually heard Vegas Dave or about him. So for this guy to say that he's the loudest, most prominent voice, I'm definitely going to disagree on that.
You are the loudest, most prominent voice in the sports card space. There is no one in the sports card space that doesn't know of you or talk about you.
I invested in two people, Mike Trout and Derek Carr.
How do you go from Mike Trout to Derek Carr as your two people that you invested in? I can understand Derek Carr, they're moving from California to Vegas and you want to PC the guy, but for you to pick such different players, Mike Trout being the icon of baseball and Derek Carr being a QB who's probably going to be fighting for a starting position this year. Wow.
And a lot of people say, oh, I'm only making a video because I'm mad at Derek's Carr production, Derek's Carr values. Guys, you have it all twisted. I'm making more money and higher percentages off Derek Carr's than Mike Trout. With Mike Trout, 8 to 10 times my money. On cars, they were $300 to $500 this year. Their cards are selling from $15,000 to $20,000.
So he's taking cards over $3 to whatever to selling them for 15 to 2,000 or 20,000. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Mike Trout was definitely a better percentage ROI based on his numbers only, because I don't know anything else because I'm not in the Derek Carr market. And if you aren't either, I can understand.
$1,000, and there's over 30 recorded sales of these cars all over the world. So a lot of people say I'm pumping and dumping car guys. I'm holding cars for another 2 to 3 years. That's my vision. It's always been my vision with Derek Carr.
You're probably holding on to Derek Carr because you're trying to to get your money back from your investment that you put in. And Derek Carr's cards have zero hype. So the best hype he's had is when they beat Kansas City early in the year this year for football.
Let me tell you, I want to save this market. I want to save this industry. I still have over $1 million invested in this industry. So the whole point of this video is to tell you what's going to happen, and hopefully we can prevent it from crashing.
Okay, if you see this is happening, but what is the answer to preventing this? That's what I know a lot of us want to know. If this is going to potentially crash like he says it is, how can it stop? Is it Panini's in the ball in Panini's court? Is it us just holding the cards and not selling it to these different share companies? But he doesn't tell us any of that. He just wants to go on the record and saying he's calling it right now the 24 crash of the sports card market, and it's him versus Gary Vee. That's basically all I can get so far.
So everybody in the sports card industry is talking about Vegas Dave versus Gary Vee. And I think it's so crazy, and it's also amusing to me that people put up polls and they say 98% Gary Vee, ha ha ha, only 2% believe Vegas Dave. Guys, you guys are idiots. You are sheep. You are polling people in the sports card industry. Of course they're going to say they want the market to go up. Of course they're going to believe it's going up because they all have money invested in it.
Didn't that one guy just say that he was one of the most prominent voices in the sports card industry, but he's complaining about an online poll of people picking Gary Vee over Vegas Dave? I don't understand.
It's like if Trump and Biden go to a Republican state and say, who do you think is going to win? And they ask a poll, they're all going to say Trump in a Republican state. They go to a Democratic state and do a poll, who's going to win?
I didn't know online polls could be like going to Democratic states and having conventions or whatever. Online is everybody. You got people who like left versus right, whatever. So I don't agree with his reasoning of why he did so bad in the poll.
And who's right? Of course, a Democratic state's going to vote for Biden. This is stupid. It's a no-brainer. Listen, if you want real people to give you real answers, why don't you go outside the sports card industry and poll other savvy investors such as Mark Cuban? If you look what Mark Cuban said recently, he agrees with me. He agrees with Vegas Dave saying the market will fall apart, and that's why he's liquidating some of his sports cards. As I stated before, I was the one that predicted the market was going to boom. I made that video 3 years ago when I bought the Mike Trout Superfractor for $400,000, and I told you to break the Honus-Wagner record. In less than 2 years, I executed that plan and that vision. People can laugh at me now, but in 10 years from now, this car will be worth $5 to $10 million. Mark my words, I know what I'm doing. It was me that predicted the market, not Gary. Gary predicted the market would boom a year after that video.
So I'm making the prediction here on the Rich Eisen show that
I don't know if that's correct either, because I know for sure I've seen videos that were really older than 2 years old, that where Gary Vee's talking about how sports cards are on the comeback, how he even says in this video that it's going to be a dominant market for 3 to 5 years. And I don't know.
Sports cards is an incredible alternative investment for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Also, I am the first person in the world to let you know and to predict the market will crash by the end of 2024. The issue I have with Gary is that we both have millions of dollars in the industry. I don't care what people say. I'm raw. I'm real. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to give you advice. Gary can't tell you now after pumping cards every single week and every single month, it's going to crash, get out. It's like me selling picks to you and saying, buy my picks, but they're going to lose today. He's not going to do it. It's the difference between me and Gary, and the issue I have with me and Gary, he says he's real, but he's not real. Gary, I know you're watching this right now. You're brilliant. I'm brilliant. Real recognizes real. You
Didn't he just say that he's not real, and then he says real recognizes real? I just think this is funny, guys. I'm sorry.
know the market's going to crash. We both know it. When you lay your head on your pillow every single night, you know Vegas Dave is right and you're wrong.
I guess this is the knockout punch for Gary Vee, I guess.
And a lot of you people in the sports card industry are saying, I'm going with Gary. Gary hasn't been wrong yet. Let me remind you, not only has Gary been wrong, every entrepreneur has been wrong. But don't forget, Gary was wrong on Uber and Gary was wrong on Netflix.
I was going to buy unbelievable amounts of Netflix stock 3 years ago. I didn't call him back, never did it. I passed on Uber twice. Had I wrote a $25,000 check into that company, the other company, it'd be worth $300.
And Gary's going to be wrong on sports cards too. And here's another issue I have with Gary that I don't agree with. He's predicting the 86 Fleer Jordan's going to hit $1 million. He's wrong. it's going to go for over $1 million, 1.2, even more.
Seriously? Oh man.
And all you sheep in the industry are going to get excited because you think the market's exploding, but you should be terrified. So this Vegas Davers Gary Vee issue came upon because I made a simple post on social media. The market will fall apart by the end of 2024, just like the subprime mortgage industry did. Within minutes of that post, big auction houses, big dealers, big investors asked me to take the post down. Why? Because they agreed with me the market's going to crash, but they said it's booming right now. They want to make as much money as possible. These are the same people you guys are praising for making the market flourish and bringing the market to an all-time high. But they're playing you guys. You're praising them and hating me for telling you what they don't want you to know, that the market's inflated, it's going to crash. The reason why this market's going to crash is from overly inflated prices on certain cards. Let me give you an example. The Michael Jordan rookie, the Steph Curry rookie. Steph Curry National Treasure rookie was $20,000, $30,000 2 years ago. He didn't even play last year, and his card just sold for $980,000. Does that sound right to you? Michael Jordan's 86 Flair rookie, 30 grand, 40 grand for years. The last dance happens, jumps to 100 grand. That makes sense. Then it goes to 200,000, 250,000. And this last week, it goes from 250,000 to 730,000. Does that sound right?
The Curry rookie is way less print than the Flair, even though it's a more modern card. You know, they only print so many versus a base Flair card that was the Michael Jordan rookie card. So I'd rather have the Michael Jordan card, of course. But I mean, having that rise the way it did because of the hype of the Warriors potential this year, if Clay would have been healthy, definitely drove that card to being as crazy as it is.
To you, let me ask you guys a question. If I'm 160 pounds for 3 or 4 years straight, and I leave social media for a month, no one sees me, I come back a month later, I'm 240 pounds, shredded, ripped, at 4% body fat, what are you going to think? You going to think that's natural? Or you think these muscles are real? You're going to think, no, it's steroids, growth hormone. Something unnatural happened to cause my body to change that fast in 30 to 60 days. Same thing with cards. How can you think these are real card prices going on in the industry? What I'm going to share with you next, only a small group of individuals know about this in the card community. These individuals are causing the inflation of prices, and these individuals are what's going to cause the industry to crash. I'm trying to protect you guys. Remember, I still have millions of dollars invested in the industry. I want to protect the market. See, when the pandemic hit last year, the stock market started to fluctuate. And at that same time, my Mike Trout rookie sold for $4 million. People from the stock market industry now saw the card industry not only as a hobby, but an opportunity to make money. So they had to diversify their portfolio. So you started seeing real big money coming from the stock market into the card industry. You would think all this big money and new money coming from the stock industry into the card industry was a great thing. But what you don't know is that these individuals brought over their same stock market mentality and practices, which is going to end up crushing the market. Traditionally,
Well, I don't think that's going to crush the market because that's not the only money that's coming in. There's a lot of people, just like myself, who've come into this market who weren't collecting sports cards as recent. But that doesn't mean that it's all that, you know, share money from these share companies. So I don't know. I don't agree with that exactly. Now on the GOAT cards, I do. I feel like that potentially could be, if you watch a lot of people's videos, they talk about getting caught holding the bag. That Michael Jordan rookie card, whenever those companies do drop and sell and things of that nature, and they don't go for what they normally went because so many are hitting the market because they'll probably cash out a lot of them at the same time, those prices will go down some because of the fact that it's hard to sell $1 million card. And not only that, like 10 of them or 15 or 20. So you understand what I'm saying? Like the price is naturally going to dip because these companies bought so many and so many so quickly that potentially the bag could be lost if you would go and say trade your whole collection or, you know, spend your whole life savings on a Michael Jordan card that's worth $1 million and then the market has a correction and next you know it's only worth say 600,000.
if someone bought a $100,000 card, that would be the real actual value of the card. See, what's going on now in the industry is that certain people are buying big ticket cards and selling percentages and shares of that card to individuals in the market. Now, a person that could never afford a $100,000 card can now own a piece or a share of that card and feel like they're a part of history. And this, what I'm explaining to you right now, has never happened in the market before until the last few months. For example, if I buy a $100,000 card, I would sell 25 shares of it at $10,000 a piece to people around the world. Just like that, the card goes from 100,000 to 250,000 and I make money. Once I receive my money, I then put the card for sale online, but I had one of my friends or buddies in the small community buy that card for $250,000. And what happens? The whole industry gets excited. Card value more than doubled. The investors get paid back their money. Everyone's happy. The card market's booming, and they repeat this over and over and over again. Sounds amazing, right? But this is the reason why sports cards are overly inflated right now. Remember the Michael Jordan card that just sold for $738,000? The Jordan card was $30,000, $40,000 for years, bumped up to $100,000 from the Last Dance. I understand that because the Last Dance influenced a lot of people to get back in the industry and collect Jordan cards. But then it went from 150, 200, 250,000, all the way up to $730,000 within 2 weeks. How is that possible? You still think these values are real? Curry's card was $30,000 to $40,000 for years as National Treasure rookie. He didn't even play last year. Comes back this season. We're not even 2 weeks in the season, and his card sells for $980,000. Does that sound real to you? Here's the issue. When one of these individuals from the small part of this card community decides to pull out, they made enough money, guess what? Once one pulls out, another one's going to pull out. It's going to be a domino effect. When all these investors pull out, these overly inflated prices of $1 million cards will go right back down to under $100,000. You'll get stuck holding the bag, and the sports card industry will be crushed. So
That's the one thing I do agree with him with. You know, the GOAT cards being so high, that's the real bag. That is definitely the real bag that could be lost if you have one of these cards. And it is worrisome. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to trade up, and I'm, you know, as a collector / investor, you know, I'm still trying to buy some of these cards or at least trade up for some of these. But now that, you know, I'm hearing more and more of this, I rather stay within the more modern, buy more modern, sell, buy some of the lower end vintage stuff, less risk, less skin in the game, more potential for just turning and burning and making profit and PCing some different guys I like.
So not all these recorded prices are all fake sales. However, most of them are from inflation, but some are real. But here's the issue with the real sales of these big ticket cards. With all these cards being sold at all these record prices every week and every month, it's become an ego war now with people with money. Who can one up the other? Who can get this card? Who can pay for that card? So they're already boosting card prices that are overly inflated in the first place. These new investors with big money are treating cards like a commodity that is going to continue to go up with inflation, but they had never been around to see the ups and downs of the sports card market. They haven't experienced cards losing value and dropping in prices. Now, some of these sales are real, the majority are inflated. Now, I know a lot of you are going to tell me that you saw in person cards at your local sports card shows sell for $4,000 or $5,000 that were once $400 or $500 that you saw with your own eyes. So you have to believe these sales are real. Yes, those transactions are real, but what you're missing is what's going behind closed doors, that the whole market's inflated all the way from the top. So it's bringing all these card prices from the bottom all the way up to mid-level to high-tier prices. Again, the whole community is affected by the people at the top, that small community selling shares of cards, inflating the market. How can you tell me that a Kobe Bryant rookie just sold for $500,000 this week, and it was never over $100,000, even at the pinnacle of his legacy when he passed away? How does that make any sense? How can you tell me that a Mahomes rookie is really worth $800,000 plus when it took over a decade before Brady's rookies hit over $800,000? That makes absolutely no sense.
National Treasure's auto patch, not just a Bowman Chrome, you know, card without an auto or anything like that. Depending on what the set is, also has a lot of bearing in what the kind of card is of how high some of these will go because of how rare they are. That card is a 1 of 5 Pat Mahomes rookie auto patch. You know what I mean? There's not any other ones going around. And even that card is a 1 of 1 because of that patch. There's not 5 of the same patch cuts and everything else. So it's super rare.
A guy that's been playing 2 years is going to surpass prices of Tom Brady, who's the GOAT? That makes no sense at all. And this is all caused by inflated prices in the industry. And one final card that I have personal experience with, Fernando Tatis, the dumbest investment in baseball. You're telling me a Fernando Tatis rookie, red refractor out of 5, sold for $250,000. I bought my Mike Trout red 3 years ago for $180,000. How can you tell me Fernando Tatis, who played 1 season during a pandemic, 60 games, how it's worth more than the Mike Trout red refractor that I bought 3 years ago? Trout was playing for almost a decade, the best modern day player in the history of baseball. $180 for his red refractor, Tatis $250,000. How does that make any sense?
He basically did that because Tatis is possibly like the Luka Doncic of baseball, being that he had such a good year, and he's, you know, it's basically the same card in a way. a 1 of 5 auto rookie of his, and same with the Trout. That was 2 years ago that price was 180, and Tatis's rookie's $250,000. Maybe it's a little premature for his price to be that high, but still, like, just having the opportunity to have a card that could possibly sell for $4 million in 2 years, just like his Trout did, that's what people are projecting with Tatis. That's probably why that, those prices, are so similar, and the situation is kind of the same in a way. Trout was more experienced. He was the face of the baseball, so that made it a little bit easier price to swallow whenever you're paying for that card, but still.
Wake up, people. These are all artificially inflated prices. Wake up. And with this big surge in the market, you now see athletes, celebrities, big-time influencers getting involved in the market and the industry. All this does is just add credibility to the sports card market. An average person that looks up to a celebrity to see that celebrity buying cards, that average person is going to follow lead and jump in the sports card market.
That is also more new money in the market that is not manipulated money. It's not share companies. Those guys are celebrities who maybe used to play Pokemon or whatever, and now they have money and they bought some of these cards. So, I mean, that's a good example of some of the new money that is in the market that wasn't there before, and they're buying some of their nostalgia from when they were a kid versus just coming in to make money and getting out.
The whole market is hot right now because all this influence coming in. At the end of the day, all these prices and all this buzz is caused by those artificial sales at the top no one's talking about. And right now, all sports are being affected by this trickle-down effect. Now you're seeing people invest in all types of sports. Tennis, golf, even Pokemon. Pokemon is garbage. That's the worst investment you can make.
It's not the worst investment you can make. Unless Pokemon literally dies and no one talks about it, plays it, there's no movies, no TV shows, nothing like that. That's the only way Pokemon would die. Charizard cannot get a knee injury or cannot or could get COVID or anything like that. That card is going to be gaining value as time goes, continually, unless Pokemon just totally dies off, which for it being around at least 20 years, I'm going to say it's going to be around for at least another 20 more.
And also, stickers. This is a Michael Jordan rookie sticker. This is going for $55,000 right now. This was a couple $1,000s for years. You know what
This makes me want to cry.
think about this? This is what I think about this. And this is what's going to happen to the sports card market. It's going to burn, burn, and burn hard.
That card was possibly a $200,000 card, depending on condition.
Remember, nothing lasts forever. This reminds me exactly of the subprime market crash in 2007 when the U.S. economy got wiped out. This is not going to destroy the U.S. economy, but it will destroy the sports card industry, and it will destroy the hobby because the trust is all gone. Now, after hearing all of this, any of you guys have any second thoughts? Who do you believe now, me or Gary? I do give Gary credit for one thing in particular. He did predict that the sports card market would boom after me, and he also said the sports betting industry would boom. These are the two top sectors to invest in. Guess who the king of both of them are? Me. Let me be clear. I want this market to flourish. I'm actively invested. I have over $1 million in the industry. No other distributor, no other big investor, no big auction house is going to tell you the truth. Only I am. And the crazy thing is that you guys are giving these people so much praise for bringing the market back and having the market explode. These are the same individuals that are destroying the market and lying to you. I'm the one telling the truth, and I only want to do this so I can protect the market.
How can you protect the market when you're not telling us what to do to protect it? If you're telling us that, Panini, Topps, hey, let's chill out with some of these print runs and producing, overproducing like the 90s, or potentially doing that again, which they have done some things to keep that from happening for the most part, except I think the base rookies are definitely going to be starting to see some dip in prices versus the short prints. And then you're already seeing that happen now. I'm talking a big wide difference. So, I mean, if Panini and Topps and etc. keep printing the way they do with all these different sets and all these different rookie cards, I mean, with Zion and Luka, man, I can't tell you how many different sets and cards that they have with the different variants and everything like that. So if this was me and I was Vegas Dave and I wanted to make this video to protect the community and the collector and investors and everyone in it, then this would be my video. I would be talking directly to the print companies, telling them how to prevent this from happening versus going at Gary Vee and making this basically who said it first or who's right and who's wrong, because that doesn't help the industry at all. Only thing it does is add to a feud or a who's who's bigger and better in the market, which is all trying to basically gain clout for whatever reason.
Remember, it was me that predicted the market would explode. Many of you guys laughed at me back then. I'm going to be the first one to tell you the market's going to collapse by the end of 2024. I wouldn't laugh at me this time. So mark my words, the sports card industry will collapse by end of 2024. And one more thing, a lot of you people in the industry are saying, I'm not going to listen to a guy who predicted the Saints to win the Super Bowl. Let me just remind you, who's Gary's team? Let me get it out of the garbage can.
What a low blow. Gary Vee, that's his team from when he was a childhood kid, man. He was been cheering on him. His dream was to buy him, be the team owner of the Jets. Can't fault Gary Vee for liking that. Just like I don't fault Pittsburgh for liking the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know what I mean? Like, it's their team. It's what they like. They're not saying that. He's not saying Aaron Donald's going to be the greatest quarterback in the league. Then that would be a whole different story. But one thing I definitely don't see is I never saw Gary Vee pick up Derek Carr's rookie cards.
The New York Jets, enough said.
All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys liked the video. I definitely don't do these a lot, but there was some stuff that I just wanted to point out. Don't have any beef with Gary Vee or Vegas Dave. Like I said, first time actually knowing who that guy is and just giving my 2 cents on the market. What do I think about some of the stuff that they're talking about and everything like that? So, all right, guys, hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget our auctions and our Facebook group in the description, and we will see you guys later.